My name is Karen Rubins. I'm a comics artist. I create, write and draw comic strips. I've drawn comics in all kinds of different genres: horror, comedy, science fiction, action and adventure. Comics are stories told mainly in a sequence of pictures with words used for dialogue. I grew up reading comics with my sister. We used to get all kinds of different comics to read. For example, Marvel superheroes, which we bought from the newsagent, and I used to read a lot of Asterix books. I really loved drawing when I was growing up, and I studied illustration at university, where I started drawing my own comics. One of the first comics I read that I really loved was a fantasy story called ElfQuest. It was written by an American woman called Wendy Pini and her husband Richard. Wendy Pini always said that one of her main influences was Japanese comics and manga, and so that's what led me to find out more about it. The word manga was first used by an artist called Hokusai in the 19th century, who published a series of his sketchbooks under the title manga. Manga means irresponsible pictures. Nowadays, it's just used to mean comics. Osamu Tezuka is the father of modern manga. He was influenced by Disney films and American comics that American soldiers brought to Japan after the Second World War. He wrote a lot of different types of stories: children's stories, comics for girls, medical dramas, and animal stories. Tezuka has influenced all manga artists, including me, because he invented manga as we know it. What I like about Tezuka's work is that his style is very simple and cartoony, yet all his stories have a message and something to think about. Manga is changing all the time. Japanese artists are becoming more influenced by comics from around the world, and artists outside of Japan are becoming more and more influenced by manga. Manga started in Japan, but is now an international art form. I really love manga because it makes you feel, as reader, as though you're inside the story. With comics made in the West, it's almost as though you're watching the story, as though it was a film. With manga, you really feel as though you're in the story with the characters and feeling what they feel. I write stories and draw them myself, but sometimes I also work with a writer. My stories often have a theme of myths, for example, Greek myths or Japanese myths and others. I like my stories to have something to say and something to think about. I take a very long time to create my work. I heard that Osamu Tezuka drew, on average, 10 pages of manga a day. The most I've managed to do is 2 pages per day.